In this video, I want to talk about 10 new releases for 2024 that I am so excited for. I just want to put some of these books on your radar and talk about them. So let's get right into it. Grey Dog by Elliot Gish. This book is set to be released on April 9th. I feel like this book could end up being a favorite of the year. It totally looks like something I would love. Goodreads calls this book a subversive literary horror novel. It disrupts the tropes of women's historical fiction with delusions, wild beasts, and the uncontainable power of female rage. This book I am so excited for it to come out. I need to read this one. As soon as I see my library get a copy of it, I am going to be checking it out because that looks phenomenal. I also am really finding myself more and more pulled towards historical fiction, so I think that one's gonna be great. I'm really excited. The next book I just found because I seen somebody on my Goodreads reading this one. It's called 𝚆𝙲𝚃 by 𝚲𝙾𝙽𝚃, and this one is set to be published on May 17th. This is as well another horror novel, and this one I was pulled in because of that cover. Like, that is a spooky looking cover and it really intrigues me. In a secluded mansion hidden away from the outside world, young 𝚆𝙲𝚃 lives under the strict and overpowering rule of her enigmatic mother. For 𝚆𝙲𝚃, the rules set by Mother are the guiding principles of her life, shaping her beliefs and actions. Conditioned to fear the darkness and malevolence that supposedly lurks outside. Yeah, I am intrigued. I don't know why the cover is giving me like Baba Yaga vibes. I don't know, that face. It's like a creepy witch, and I really want to read this. It looks good. The next book that I'm excited for is The Gathering by C.J. Tudor, and this one is set to be published on April 9th. This book is following a detective investigating a grisly crime in rural Alaska. Now, I also found this book because somebody I follow on Goodreads read it and reviewed it, and I believe that they called this a vampire novel. Okay. They did. They said a gruesome murder in a little closed-off town in Alaska, and it might or might not be committed by a vampire. So, okay, this cover is giving me vibes of the movie 30 Days of Night. C.J. Tudor's last release was The Drift, which is another like isolated, cold, snowy, like winter-themed thriller book. So I love that she is like leaning into that because I really enjoyed The Drift, and especially for like the isolated cold atmosphere, she was so successful at like crafting that atmosphere and those vibes. So I really am excited to check out The Gathering. The next one is Youth Juice by E.K. Sathu. This one is set to be released on June 4th. A bloodthirsty copywriter realizes that beauty is possible at a terrible cost in this surreal satirical send-up of NYC it girl culture. So this is definitely giving me vibes of Rouge by Mona Awad. It really is like fitting into this literary horror subversive genre that I feel like is just blowing up lately. I really am interested in this one. I was immediately pulled in by the cover. It's always the cover. It's either the cover or the title that catches my attention, and yeah, I've seen horror and I want to read it. The next book that has made my list is Dead Animals by Phoebe Stooks, and this one is set to be published on April 11th. There is something creeping at the edge of your vision, lingering somewhere just out of focus. All it would take is to let your mind wander, to let it come into view. I don't want to know anymore. I don't want to read anymore. I want to go into this one totally blind. I like the cover. I like the vibes. It's calling itself horror, and I will definitely be reading that one. The next book is The Bad Ones by Melissa Albert. This one is set to be released on February 20th. In the course of a single winter's night, 4 people vanish without a trace across a small town. This book is calling itself a crossover horror fantasy threaded with dark magic. The Bad Ones is a poison pen love letter to semi-toxic best friendship, the occult power of childhood play and artistic creation, and the razor-thin line between make-believe and believe. Oh my goodness. The only hesitation I have around this one is the fact that it is a young adult. And I really struggle with young adult. I don't know. There's like a very small handful of young adult books that I read in the last few years that I've actually enjoyed. A lot of them I go into thinking I'm going to enjoy them, and they don't work for me. So I really hope this one works for me because it sounds extremely promising from that synopsis. The next book is So Witches We Became by 𝙲𝙾𝙽𝙃𝙴𝙲𝚃. The tagline on Goodreads says, "If boys will be boys, girls will fight back." I love that. Perfect for fans of Courtney Summers and Rory Power, and reading like a YA feminist spin on Stephen King's The Mist. So Witches We Became is a diverse queer horror about female friendship, the emotional aftermath of surviving assault, and how to find power in the shadows of your past. Oof, that one sounds like it could be a very tricky, dark read. So I will go into that one cautiously, but goodness, that cover is beautiful. I adore the title. I love that title. Again, we just spoke about it's another young adult, so I do hope this one will work for me, but I really, really love the film The Mist that this book is comparing itself to, so if it has vibes of that, I will enjoy it. This one is set to be released on July 23rd, so I'm excited for that one. The next one is one that I know people are going to be so buzzed and hyped for this book, and that is Lady Macbeth by Ava Reed. This one is set to be released on August 6th. This is a reimagining of Lady Macbeth, Shakespeare's most famous villainess, giving her a voice, a past, and a power that transforms the story men have written for her. This is going to be a retelling. It's going to be a historical fiction fantasy, gothic vibes, and I'm all here for it. I love that cover. I love the vibes from the synopsis, so I will definitely be reading that one. The next one I added to my list here, I don't know about this one, if this one's going to be for me or not. I'm interested in it, but it could really go either way for me. That book is Piglet by Lottie Hazel. This one is the title. The title pulled me in, and then the imagery. So it's called Piglet, and then we see a burger on the cover. So I'm intrigued. Goodreads says an elegant, razor-sharp debut about women's ambitions and appetites, and the truth about having it all. Goodreads is calling this contemporary literary fiction, so we will see. We will see how this one goes. I'm very, very intrigued though. That sounds like it could be very different. The final book I want to talk about in this video is The Tower by Flora Carr. This one is set to be released on March 5th. And this is another historical fiction set during the Tudor period. Something has totally, my brain has been rewired where it is now interested and very, very pulled in by all the historical fiction releases. This is a bold feminist debut reimagining Mary, Queen of Scots' darkest hour, when she was held hostage in a remote Scottish castle with a handful of loyal women while plotting a daring escape to reclaim her country and her freedom. Anything that's going to call itself a bold feminist novel is something that I want to read, and I really love all of these like feminist retelling historical novels. Like, they are just doing it for me. They are working for me. So this is definitely promise you I will read this book when it comes out. But that is all 10 books that I wanted to talk about in this video. I have so many more new releases I am excited for. I have a list on my Goodreads of like 60 plus books that are coming out this year that I'm really interested in. There are a lot of books in 2024 that seem very different and very promising. So I hope 2024 is going to be one of those years where just the books are all amazing, because that would be great, right? If you guys have any new releases that you are very excited for coming out this year, please let me know what that is. I would love to check it out. But other than that, I will see you guys in my next video.